First of all, I have a broad interest in whatever art, music, and dance and everything. And when it comes to my repertoire, it's my job to develop the repertoire. So to be interested in new music and to make fast performances, to collaborate with composer. That's one of the most important things that I'm doing, I think, except playing all the wonderful repertoire that we already have and a part of the music history, like Mozart last time I was here, and today is Weber. And I think so. I wouldn't say I don't see myself as a very versatile musician. I'm a curious musician, I would say, and I think that's also part of my person, and part of my I think inspiration and everything comes from this. To have a relation with the composer is always important. I was dead or alive. Mm-hmm. You should be close to the composer, what he meant and what he wanted to say. But of course, it's easier if the composer is live. It could be easier anyway. It's not always like that. But so it's a part of having a dialogue in the beginning, and these collaboration could look very different actually. It could be a very close collaboration, like you talk and you play and you develop new landscapes for the clarinet, and I show and I develop new techniques and I new sounds and whatever. Or it could be as like we meet once and the composer say, "I've seen you, I heard you, now I write a concerto for you," and then I got the concerto and I try to learn it. This is two ways of working, and I like them both, actually. Sometimes I like the other one more because I think some of the really good composers have such a strong voice and something important to say, so I can leave them alone and let them say what they want and then try to perform as good as I can. Some composers that wrote for me wanted to include something more, and the most famous example of that, or the one that I've done a lot, is the Hilbert Concerto, which I've done now over 250 times. And it exists in 3 different versions, and the concerto is for moving clarinet player, so dancing clarinet player, and light design. And there was a very interesting and very creative work, I would say, because it also make me feel, if you go, that's one of the nice things of doing new things and then come back to the old repertoire, because you always shake around with yourself a little bit when you start to work with a composer like Anders Hilber, who is a really creative guy, and then I would say then you try to do this, and it's very difficult to do with choreography and playing. It's extremely difficult. And when you've done that and come back to, let's say, Mozart or Nielsen or Debussy or Rossini, then you feel a little bit newborn with these repertoires. So I always have the impression that for me it could be good to go out on the wild side and come back again to my home repertoire, which I was born into and which I was raised by. I mean, my parents were classical musicians, no, actually they were not classical musicians, they were doctors, but they played a lot of classical music. So I was raised with Brahms, Beethoven, and Bach music, and of course that's my repertoire. So when I work with these crazy composers, or some of them, I feel also it's something really important happening. It's not ideal to play 4 concertos in 1 week, 4 different concertos. But on the other hand, it's my repertoire. I've done these pieces quite much, and I actually limit, except the new repertoire, I have a core classical repertoire that I have that I go around with, and it's Nielsen, Mozart, Weber, Copland, Rossini, Debussy, and some more. So this is my repertoire that I always play, and then of course I do sometimes more, and different profile projects and a theme with a theme or whatever, and then it comes more repertoire. But that I plan carefully. Weber, I recorded the two concertos and the concertino and the quintet. Actually, I did the whole thing with the chamber orchestra. So even the quintet was with chamber orchestra. And for me, of course, this concerto, especially this concerto, has a lot of opera, a lot of Freischütz in it, and I think it is. You should play it like that, and I am very happy that the orchestra is so flexible, and we have a sort of coming to a concept that we have these very present, the operatic feeling in it, and I like the sparkling, almost not a chamber music way of playing, but it sounds more. If it's too heavy, it's not my cup of tea, because Weber is such a sparkling composer, and this concerto needs this edge. And I think the rehearsal today was sort of a proof that is possible with this orchestra, really much. I'm very happy about that. The kind of repertoire that I'm doing is that's very suitable for this hall. Mozart, it's really good to play here, and also Weber is maybe even better, because we have a little bit more strings for the Weber than we had in the Mozart, because it was a chamber orchestra. So I love to play here. It's really, really good feeling, and you can hear very well what the other people are doing, which is a great help for everyone. So then it's more chamber music together.